It is a great honor and a privilege to introduce Lydia Suzana Honig Brenners. We're here in your beautiful home in Rishon LeZion in Israel. And Lydia, thank you so much for inviting me to your beautiful home. If you could tell us a little bit about your family and where you were born and how you eventually came to Israel.
Yes, my story starts with a story of my parents because it had an influence on my life. So I believe that I have to tell everybody about my grandfather, who I cannot know exactly what year, left Russia, Lithuania, by foot. He ran away and came slowly by earning a little money in every city he went through, making jobs as a glass instructor. So he arrived to Hungary, and after a short time he met my grandmother, who was very religious. As he came also from a religious family, they got married very soon, and with the time he opened a factory and they had children, among them my father. All were educated. My father became with time a pharmacist. He studied in Austria because it was a better university than in Hungary. Maybe it was not. I have his brother who was with the time a very famous eye doctor, professor, even in the Jewish hospital in Budapest. And another brother was the main engineer at the Budapest municipality. And my father, after finishing his studies in Austria, he came back to Budapest, and then there started the communist regime, and he became, at the university in Budapest, for all the students he made, I don't know how to call it. Anyhow, he was very communist, because at this time the mother was still not very rich, so he got famous as a communist. And one day when he came home from the university teaching pupils, his mother was waiting with a very small luggage down, told him, "Look, the communists were thrown out of Hungary and they are looking for you too, to the police, so go away." And that was his last day in Hungary. He got on a train and got to Yugoslavia. And there he went down to Albania. He didn't know the language, but somehow they caught him for being the main pharmacist at the Yugoslav army in Albania. And he got a degree also as an officer. Somewhere I have even a picture of him. And one of his holidays, he went to Vojvodina. It is near to Hungary. And in Novi Sad, he met my mother. My mother was a daughter of a Hungarian father and Hungarian mother, but the mother was after an operation in Austria. When my mother was 16, she was dead. So she grew up without mother. Her father was the most famous photographer in Europe, not only in Hungary. He, in a few museums still today, has some photos under his name, Vajda, and he was well known as the first one who made pictures with color. But as I have to explain, it is not that the film was with color. His two sons, my mother's brother, learned and were sitting for hours at every picture with making color on the picture, handmade color, and they had also a big shop, the people were coming and buying pictures after they colored them. So he got also rich, even very rich. So my father, after they got married, got a very nice, how you call it, when you get married, you get money. And he arose a factory. It became with the time a very famous industry for chemicals and pharmaceutical things. And it started, my mother worked at, she was responsible for the office and also for a lot of workers. And the family's name, Chemicalia, became very famous. It sounds very good because they earned a lot of money, but when I was born, my mother did not have time for me, but had money, so from the first day I got a caretaker from Germany, from Berlin, and she spoke to me only German. My mother spoke to me Hungarian when she met me. And my sister, she was 7 years older than me, was already in school. When I was born, she spoke Serbian, of course, to me. And she also, because she was reading a story when I was born, from a Russia, very famous writer, and she asked my parents to call me Lydia. I don't know the story, but maybe somebody knows about the Lydia famous story. So, and my parents added name Suzana because it sounds Hungarian Zuzana, in Serbian Suzana, and it more fitted my parents. And till the Holocaust, everybody called me Zuzia, Hungarian. So I was grown up under a German language, and not missing anything materially, and never knew that I miss parents because they were very busy at the factory. And my sister, 7 years older, had her friends. So I started to go to school at about age 6, and the caretaker had to leave, no more need, and started to have friends. It was a Jewish school, and started to dance ballet, classical ballet. They immediately discovered that I have a talent for it, so they took me for a dancing group and I had at this time only a Jewish holidays in a theater. I was the main dancer. And one of my, who liked to look at me when dancing, he was from the same age, was the same school. It was Tommy Lampel, who became, when we came to Israel, with the time a minister here. But I have pictures that I am dancing, and he was appreciating me, looking at me. And by the way, after a lot of years, we met on a street in Tel Aviv after we arrived, and he told my husband, I was already married, I have to tell you, at a very early age, I wanted to marry Lydia. So I was having a good life till age 10. Then the Nazis arrived to my city, the Hungarian Nazis, and changed even the name back from Novi Sad to Újvidék. And we had to speak at the school Hungarian. The teachers were changed to Hungarian-speaking teachers, but after a short time, we had a cooker, a lady cooking for us and cleaning. She had a special room at our flat. She came back from early morning shopping and told outside there are big, how you call it?
Signs?
Yeah, at every street. it is forbidden to go 24 hours out of house. So it was really quiet outside. My parents, she came about noontime back. And it was forbidden to open because some people, as my rich parents had radio, it was forbidden to open the radio who had. So everything was silent. We went to sleep, and early in the morning there was clinging at our flat. 3 officers, Hungarian, Nazi, later I understood, came, called the name of my father, of my mother, my sister, and me. We have to take you with us. And then the lady who was living with us asked, shall I come too? What is your name? She told it was a very Hungarian Christian name. I said, look, no, you are not on the list. So only whom we called. I tell it because I remember it that after everything was finished, the one who organized all the Holocaust in Ujvidek in Novi Sad, when they caught him and wanted to punish him, he told it was nothing organized. It was all spontaneous of the officers who came. And then I showed them at Yad Vashem, I told the story that they had a list. And so they asked me to come to Hungary to be a
witness.
To be a witness. Of course I went, I was a witness, but before the judgment he died at the prison with a heart attack. Anyhow, I feel that it's very important to know that all those who deny that it was organized. Later I have another about against it, that it was not organized. So anyhow, they told us to, the officers who came, come out. I was 10 years old and asked, I remember my parents, my father, because my mother was less useful, what shall I take? Anything you want. So I had very short socks and a coat. Later I learned it was minus 25 cold outside. They took us to the city theater by foot. Yeah, something also that I cannot forget. When we were in a few minutes ready to go to the lift, but before we went out, one of the officers saw the radio that was very rare at this time and told my father, you have to bring it with you. So my father took it, we went out to the street. They did not tell us where to go, just go straight. And I saw my father suffering cold, holding it was a big, heavy radio. So I went near to him. I wanted to help him, and the officer gave with his, how you call it, the officer said at this time.
A rifle?
Yeah, gave me a big here on my head. Go, you are not allowed to go near each other. Only after 30 or 40 years when I have been in Israel, I discovered that because of the cold, I have here aches, and because I had very short, I have nobody. Anyhow, it reminds me of what we went through. At the theater, when we arrived, we had to go to the entrance, and there was also sitting an officer with a big list. He was checking. You remember that I told you that they say it was not organized. He had a list, only Jewish names calling, what's your name? Okay. They told my father to go inside to a small dressing room maybe, and to my mother and sister and me, they told you join, there are waiting to go into the theater, but you are not allowed to speak. And I saw that they are entering 5 people. So when waiting, I ran to see where my dad is, and I saw him with 2 other Jews and some officers sitting at the table. So I was quiet that he is here. We entered the totally dark theater, already the 4th row before the last. They told us not to speak. We were sitting. After a while, the lamp, the light on the, how you call it, in the theater.
The stage?
Yeah, was up, and with a high degree officer came and told, now you go out row by row. Outside is a camion waiting. We shall take you to check your rights. He told it in Hungarian language. And I understood, looked at my mother, nobody. So we went we were about the first ones because we were sitting at the last row. They put us in a camion up and drove to the Danube. That was a few kilometers along. The Danube, you know the Danube.
The river?
Yeah. On the way, I also saw some, at this time there were horses with, they were carrying other people's also, not only on camion. How you call, it's not fiaker,
Like a wagon?
Yeah. I saw some people I knew. When we arrived near to the strand, to the bathing place of Novi Sad, they told us, now come down from the camion, do not speak. There you see there is a row, 4x4 grown-ups stand, and all the children between them. There were not many children, but when we arrived, I believe the 4x4 row was about almost 1 kilometer, a lot of people before us. And they continued to say not to speak. So when we had to stand, I saw my mother's frozen face. Today, not only today, lately I understood she was worried. She did not know what happened to her husband, my father, and I did not tell her that I saw him. So she was standing, as a lot of other people were also, and I repeat, it was minus 25. We could not move it. There now everybody speak about Holocaust. From Novi Sad, all the people call the killings that they did there, not Holocaust, but razzia. And I remember it also as a razzia time. I have here two very strong memories. One is that we could not move, but suddenly before our standing, a man came out, and they told him, "What are you doing? You are not allowed." He told, "I cannot stop. I go, here are some trees, I will go." "No, you are not allowed." And then his wife joined and told them, "Don't worry, I will take care of him." And they went, there was a park before the strand. Why I tell it? Because when everything was finished and the few people who survived, we could go back, and on the left side of the road I saw them sitting one on the other. So I did not understand what was happening, but later I heard they were shot. It is one. The other story is, I don't know, maybe worse. As I told, we were standing 4x4, and as we could not move, I was standing on the left side, turned my face, and in the row after, I saw an aunt of a good friend of me. She was holding a baby. And suddenly I heard her in Hungarian language crying, "I cannot stand it anymore." So I looked and I saw she was holding the half-a-year-old baby, looking at her and saying, "I cannot stand it anymore." And I looked at the baby. She was a good baby. I did not understand what is she suffering. But then came the soldiers, took the baby disappeared, and took the lady without waiting for her row. They took her inside the bathing strand. Some other things I remember, I was hearing shootings. I did not have idea what's going on, but the grown-up knew. Later, they told us that they took 2 rows, 4 and 4, 8, took them inside near the Danube, told them to take off the shoes. They left there the shoes, put them, they made they opened the river, it was with ice. Ice, you call it? Kerach.
Ice.
Ice. They told them to stand there, shoot them and throw them in the Danube. Of course, since then I never went into any river. After I understood that all the, some, I don't know, 4,000 or 8,000 Jews of Novi Sad were killed there. And another memory that I have to remind everybody, that people make in memories bad memories, that after, I believe it were about 10 rows before us, suddenly on a horse arrived an officer and in Hungarian language asked for the name of the main officer who was there, and they were calling his name. He arrived and they were very near to me, so I heard, he told, I got an order from the parliament from Hungary, Horthy, who heard what you are making here, the razzia, you have immediately to stop. And they spoke to the main officer, but I heard the other one who took also, who were also joining the killing. They spoke in Hungarian, so we shall continue, don't worry, they told each other. But they stopped it. Why I say it? Because once when I was visiting it after the war, I got a present, a book written about the razzia, and the one who wrote that a helicopter brought the envelope from Horthy. At this time there was no helicopter at all. It was 1942. But he wrote in the book. So I mention it because when people meet such things, so they do not believe in anything. So they do not believe in razzia. Therefore, it's very important to me to say also I was only 10 years old, but I remember the horse, the officer, and the envelope I saw. Anyhow, we were slowly, not much people left. As I told you, 10 rows, only 1 camion. And they took us back to the theater. They told us, you are free now. And it was not far away from our flat. We went home, and my mother closed herself in the bedroom, and I am sure she was very nervous because my father was not yet with us. I was resting, my sister was other place. And after a while, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours, my father arrived, took immediately my mom back to the bedroom. They spoke for a short while. Afterwards, I understood that he told that where he was, they wanted him to understand that he is leaving all his millions to them, and therefore he told my mother, we are leaving now to Budapest because there it's quiet, and my family, he was born in Budapest, my family is there, we are leaving. And later I asked him, what shall I pack? Whatever you want. And I took a doll that I was always dancing ballet with. Anyhow, nobody instructed me. We arrived to Budapest with the last train that was allowed without passport. It was between, it was Yugoslavia and Hungary, but they did not check. It was luck. We arrived to Hungary. There I went through also a lot of very hard things, but survived. You want examples? Yes?
Yes, impossible, yeah.
We arrived about 5 o'clock in the morning to my uncle, ringed, and my uncle was surprised. My father told him what happened to us. He did not believe his brother. You are imagining, anyhow, come and rest. But the next day, as he was a very famous Jewish professor, he immediately found for me to go a home for without parents, children, how you call it?
An orphanage?
Yes.
Orphanage.
To continue to the school and to be cared for, but everything has difficulties. I was forbidden to say that my parents are alive. Imagine, 10 years old, I cannot speak about my parents, and they did not visit me for months. Until the end of the school year, I was there. And there were no telephones as today. But my aunt from time to time called by a usual phone and just asked me if I need something. So after it was, the year was finished, my parents took me, and then the Russians started to another war, but we were 4 years in Budapest.
Lydia, were you with your sister in the orphanage?
No. She was
alone?
7 years older, and later I understood that my sister, they bought her papers of a Christian girl, and she was together with another girlfriend of her, also with a Christian paper. And she did not meet also the parents for a while. So after we were released from the school, and I made an account that in 4 years I was living in 21 places. And please believe me, I remember all of them. Moving with the parents from one place where we did not tell that we are Jews. We did not go out, only looking through the windows what's going on, if the Russians are bombing. And another ugly memory is that one time my father called his friend, also a pharmacist who had a pharmacy in Budapest, if he's ready to take care of me. I thought yes, and I was already 12 years old. And he was living where we had this time a flat. I went over. He told me, very good, you will be as my babysitter. They had a baby. I was there 2 or 3 days, not going out, sure, but... And afterwards he told me, listen, my sister was living in a small place in Hungary, and the Russians finished their house, their villa, so she's coming now to live with me, but she is anti-Semitic, so now go back to your father. And I remember that I did not know what does it mean, being anti-Semitic, but I went back to my father. You want more stories?
Lydia, it's incredible. Whatever you remember, it's just unbelievable.
Please. Believe me that I will remember. I remember. And I don't know if it's good or bad that I remember. It took time until we got back to Yugoslavia. They collected us, all the Jews, by a train. And for example, then my sister was already a big girl, and when we were they collected us in a machane.
A camp.
A camp, but my father did not join us. He told he's going privately by a train to arrange maybe our flat, anyhow, to prepare. So he left. My mother was demented, and after half a day or 1 day, the police came and took my sister. Later, I was told, because she had Christian paper, they thought that she is lying. They took her straight to Beograd and closed her in a justice place, how you call it?
A prison?
Yeah. But I asked I don't know how I knew that they took her. Maybe they told. I asked my aunt to try to catch my father by phone, and she did tell him that they took my sister. He found her, took an advocate and released her without letting my mother and me know that, because we were a few days waiting for the train to take us back.
Lydia, what year was this? What year was this?
When the Russians, 1945.
Was this already the end of the war or near the end of the war?
Sorry?
Was this at the end of the war?
Yes. Therefore, we could go back to Yugoslavia.
So what do you remember when the Russians came? Do you remember the Russians coming into Budapest?
Suddenly, we had always go down in the Martev.
The cellar.
Yeah, but it was good on the other side because my parents closed the door. It was for everyone a cellar because they did not want that other people know that they are Jews. And I spoke a perfect Hungarian already, so they sent me to try to find some food. And I found also some young, not friends, but more or less they enjoyed my company. And I went out with them to steal, because the bombings, shops were open, so people were stealing food. And when they saw me, a small girl, they brought me to, and after a while, 2 or 3 days, I was starting to go out, standing already on the street, when a lot of Russian officers were going by. I was already 14. And one of them told me in German language. I thought they are Russian. No, they were Germans running away from the Russian. And he told me in German language, and I knew German, "Come with me, I will help you, come, I will take you." And luckily I told him no thanks. You can imagine what would happen if I would join him. So after the war was, that was in Hungary, we suffered a lot. In one flat when we were, at the beginning, in one of the flats, my parents went out for shopping, and it was the first bombing and Sirena. Nobody explained to me what it is. Anyhow, I went under the bed. My parents came back home, and they did not find me. Suddenly, they called my names, and I came out. "What are you doing?" I thought I was scared. It was, "You are stupid, it does not help the bed." I remember this also, that I thought that if I am under bed, the bomb will not reach me.
And Lydia, before the Russians came, before the end of the war,
Yeah.
do you remember being hungry? Was there any food, or
The what?
how did you get food? Were you hungry? There was probably a scarcity of food. Do you remember being hungry and not being able to find food?
I don't understand the question.
The food,
The what?
were you hungry a lot of the time? Was it difficult to obtain food, to eat the food? Was it difficult to get food?
אתה מבין?
האם היה לכם קשה להשיג אוכל, מזון?
I was looking for it always.
But before, it was always difficult. It was difficult to find food.
We did not have money difficulties because my uncles helped us a little bit, and my father was a very good manager, so I remember once or twice he got from the main manager for his assistant. He sent him money, but I don't know how. So we had no difficulties to buy, but there were no much shops open.
And what do you remember going back to Yugoslavia?
What do I remember? Well, when we went to the train, there was a lady coming with a small girl and asked me if I am ready to take care because she lost her parents and her aunt is waiting at the train station in Novi Sad. So I was busy taking care when we arrived and was happy that the aunt took this small girl from me, and then we're looking and my father came and told us that the flat we were living in is not free, there is a family living, so we have to go in the villa of my mother's father. The Valda photo had a villa. But it was very old anyhow. We lived there from 45 till 48. And my father was very interested to put me back to normal life. Of course, he put me to the school. I was immediately wanted back to a dance group. And my father told me, no, it's not a serious profession. Instead, he paid, and I got a private English teacher. Therefore, I speak good English.
Outstanding, outstanding.
And but without telling my father, I continued to dance ballet. And I did not find any living friend from the past. So I found some Christian new friends, and also a memory that from Auschwitz there came back 2 or 3 1 year older girls than me, and one of them invited about 10 of us who Jewish one, and she wanted to count how many we are still alive. She invited us, and I remember they took all of them cigarettes because they went through not an easy story, all of them. They were smoking, and they told me, here is for you 1 cigarette. and it was my first and last cigarette in life. But we, all of them afterwards came to Israel, but not my age. My age, from my class, only 6 came, 4 boys and 2 girls with me together. I have a lot of pictures from the school when all 40 are alive. But only 6 came here, and of course busy with life.
And Lydia, your family.
Sorry?
Did your family in Novi Sad, did a lot of the family survive as well?
Well, my sister and no, my two my mother's brother, 2 Dod.
Uncle.
2 uncles did not survive, so my mother continued with depression here also. She had no family, and in Hungary also they did not survive. Maybe that my uncle died, he was not killed, he died from an illness maybe. His 2 daughters, one did not survive, she was killed, and one left to United States, but there she went through a train, not a train, a tramway, a metro. She fell down and was killed. No, I don't remember any family.
And Lydia, going back to Novi Sad, it must have been very difficult. All the memories, and to think what had happened in the razzia, it must have been incredibly difficult.
I don't know if we spoke about it. I did not realize what was happening really, and the medical results I discovered only after getting married, and for example, that I'm blind now, it is a result that my cataract was not checked. When my uncle, who was an eye professional, heard that I do not see well, he told my father, take her to and tell me what eyeglasses she needs. He told him, and he sent me eyeglasses, the same number I needed then, in golden. It was all his care. Instead of sending me for a medical check, they discovered my cataract only when at age 23 or 4 I wanted a driving license. And about my ages, nobody asked me. But one day, a very, very far cousin was living near, and he was a doctor, and asked me, he heard that I was at a freezing time out, you are okay? I told him, I have aches, so use ammoniac. And it helps. But it took a long time until I got advices. And the nurse, my children know I am always in tension. I was looking on watch today, as you told, that you will arrive at 9. I started at 7:45 to look if you are already on your way, and why don't you let me know that you will be late. My children are laughing at me when they went to school. I knew when they are coming back, the watch. I was always standing at the window because we had no phone at this time, and waiting that the car arrives, the collecting car arrives from the school. And even today, when they are arriving from abroad, from Slovenia, he does not say anything else, but at 8 o'clock tomorrow you can stand at the window. It is his way to advise me when he's arriving.
And Lydia, did you speak to your parents? Did your parents speak about what had happened?
If what?
Did you speak amongst your sister and your parents about the Shoah, about what had happened to you?
No. No.
And with your friends? Did you speak with your friends?
Of course not. No. Only when I arrived to Israel, after 4 years or 3 years, I went over from Ramle to Jerusalem and went to the university, and there I got befriended with a girl. She was born here, and she asked me, "Did you go through Holocaust?" I told her, "Yes, I did." "So let me see your number." Told her, "We did not get numbers." "Oh, so it's okay." And she finished for 1 year. She did not ask me any more questions. We got very befriended until I understood that all the Israelis know only about Auschwitz and sometimes about Bergen-Belsen, but nothing else. So I cannot forgive her that when she did not find the number, "Oh, so it's okay, and you came with your parents, everything is okay." She stopped to ask, so I did not speak about it. Oh, I opened my soul, my mouth, only a few years ago when they started to invite me through the municipality to speak about Holocaust.
And with your children, you didn't speak to your children?
No.
And your husband?
Ask
But your husband, when you got married?
My husband had his own problem. He lost his father at age 14. And started to smoke at age 13, and it made him a heart attack very early.
And Lydia, can I ask, because you remember so well, but coming to Israel, can you tell us a little bit about when you...
Speak slowly.
Can you tell us a little bit when you left Yugoslavia to come to Israel?
What if I can tell?
When you came to Israel...
My father told me few days before that you go to school and tell the manager or your main teacher that you are leaving. And I was surprised. I didn't know even that Israel. But my father, he prepared everything. So I went next day to the school and told my main teacher. He told me, sit down. After 10 minutes or quarter of an hour, he came and gave me the diploma of finishing the school. It was December. I was surprised. Told, you deserve it. You are one of my best students. And then I went and Tommy Lapid, what are you keeping? I told him, we are leaving. He told, me too. So he ran to the teacher and told, I want also. No, she is a perfect pupil, but I cannot give you. So when we came here, he continued to learn and to make he finished the school here. And he was angry with me that I got something he did not.
But Lydia, I think you have the most amazing furniture. Your father made a deal with...
What?
The furniture that you have, you brought from Yugoslavia? The table and the furniture you brought from Slovenia?
I don't understand. Oh, I told you that when there was Tito at my time when we left, and every Jew got permission to take one
container.
Yeah, but we had a lot of furnitures and a lot of things to take, so my father asked for a permission, and he had to sign in his name, my mother's name, my sister's name, and my name, that we are leaving all the the factory, the flats, everything, and therefore we got permission to build 2 great containers. And we put in all the furniture. My father put in, and it arrived.
This is from the furniture?
What?
This is the furniture?
Yes.
And behind you as well?
I have here a nice story. I don't know if you understood that I was not only taken to for speaking about Holocaust, but a lot of journalists came also, really. And once they came from my home place. They called me through Yad Vashem. They got my name. They called me if I agree. I told yes. And the lady journalist arrived with a video maker, with a picture. And they told me to sit here. The lady started to ask questions, 2 or 3. And she asked, what about the furnitures? And I told my mother she was very good, she had very good taste, and we were very rich, so she ordered it by a private one, and he made it. And I remember that my mother visited almost daily to check if it's her taste and if it's as she wants. And then she stopped for a minute, and the one who made the video asked me, do you remember the name of the one who did it? I told, yes, I do. I told him he almost fainted and told, "It's my uncle." And he stopped to make pictures of me, made pictures of the furniture. You got your answer?
Unbelievable. And can I ask, the picture of your grandmother,
What?
this beautiful picture of your grandmother, how did it survive? How did it survive the war?
Oh, it was in Hungary, and after the war, my uncle came from Budapest to visit. My father was still alive here in Israel, and then I was driving. I had a car, and when he arrived, he put out of his luggage a roll and told, I brought it from Hungary, it's not allowed. He took it out of frame, put it in a luggage, and gave it as a present to me, as she looks like me. And so it survived in Hungary, that painting.
It's a beautiful painting.
Yes.
Do you know who the artist was?
What?
Do you know the artist?
מי האומן שצייר את זה?
מה?
את מכירה את האומן שצייר את הציור?
He is very famous name. It's written here, Munkacs, if I am not wrong. Very famous in Hungary.
Magnificent.
I have
Beautiful.
another interesting painting. You see here, it's Budapest.
It's also a beautiful painting.
Wait, there is a story. I inherited it from my parents, and only after years that it was here, I discovered that the second building here, we were living there in the Echomrim.
Basement.
In the basement
of the second
by
building.
the weir for almost 1 year. But my parents bought it before the war.
It's amazing.
Also a very good painter.
And Lydia, what do you remember of the ship that you came to Israel on?
What do I remember?
The ship.
The what?
האונייה.
Onia, the ship that you came.
Kefalos.
Do you remember the voyage?
I remember that my parents took me down as everybody, but I hated the darkness, so I was among a very few upstairs breathing, and only lately I understood that some of my new friends or old friends also came with the same. There was only one big kefalos that brought the Jews from Israel, from Yugoslavia to Israel. We had to travel by train to the sea, a place where the plane was waiting. I don't know how many kilometers, and there came from other countries too, and they took us to the. We went by train and then by.
ship.
So you can imagine that we did not have a lot of things until we started to live here.
And you remember Haifa, the port, when you saw Haifa for the first time?
What?
When you saw Haifa, when you came to Israel, and you remember Haifa?
Haifa. From Haifa, they took us to Beit Olim. You know what it is for newcomers in Beit Al-Yad Ramle, איך קוראים?
Lod?
בית יעקב, בר יעקב.
Ber Yaakov.
And then, after a few months, we got from the state a flat in Ramle. After 2 months or something like that. And when we arrived to Ramle, I was told that it belonged before to an Arab one who ran away. Therefore the flat was free for us. But in a way, I was, when my parents left me alone, I was a little bit afraid, what shall I do when, not because of he was Arab, I did not know the difficulties with Arabs, but I was told that he ran away and it belongs to him. So if it belongs to him, I was afraid to live there. But he did not come. But I got one, as I told you, I was caring mostly for my parents, and I was going to the market after 2 weeks in Ramle, and there I met a little bit older girls than me, and we got befriended. She liked to speak with me English because I did not know that time Hebrew. And she visited me once or twice, and then she asked me if I am ready to visit her. I told her yes. She told me where she is, but the next day she came back and told me, listen, my father is Arab and he does not allow me to bring you to us. And it took me time to understand the war between Arabs and, because we got really befriended. And her father, she was a teacher already.
Sure. And you happy you came to Israel? Looking back, your parents and you were happy that you came to Israel?
I believe yes. I had no other choice, and my father arranged it, so he was happy that he succeeded, and my mother was already dementic, so I'm not very sure that she knew where she is.
And Lydia, what message do you give to your children and your grandchildren and for the future generations? What message do you impart?
Love each other, and my main message is that I am sure I survived because I was always listening. My father gave always orders. When you go out of ghetto, take off. And only when you come, because every day...
That was the yellow star, the star.
Yeah, only when you come back to the ghetto, because we had 2 hours free. But they told us we have to. My father told me to take off, and only when I come back a few meters and put it back. I am sure he gave always orders when to go out, how to behave, what to dress, and it's very good that I listen to him. So I believe children should listen to the parents.
And Lydia, giving the Zikaron Basalon and speaking about the Shoah,
when did I begin? I told you when we came to Rishon after, when as I started everywhere, the municipality found me and I am on their list, only a few are already. So they, every year, they ask me if I am ready. I went to schools here. I believe only in Rishon. I don't remember if I was invited.
And you lit the candle?
Private places also say, when I met somebody, are you ready? And she invited her family, and she's still today in very good relationship with me. And
Lydia, last year you were honored to light the candle in Rishon for Yom HaZikaron. You lit the candle.
I don't understand.
Ladlik et haneh.
להדליק משואה.
Masoah.
Oh, you don't know?
Last year.
Yes. The main story I have to forgot to tell you. I told you that I saw Martha. No, I told you that I saw an aunt of my good friend holding the baby and telling her, I cannot anymore. You remember? Well, after we came to Rishon, I went, after 1 week, there were ex-Yugoslavians meeting, and I went there, and suddenly Marta, who I knew her because of Ladani Shaul and his sister, Marta's half-sister, were my neighbors in my previous home at Ramat Ilan, where the university is. So Marta came and asked me, what are you doing here? I told her, we came over. Can I visit you? I told her, of course. And next day she already arrived, and at the door she told me, I have to tell you that I am not Ladani's real sister. His mother adopted me. And I asked her, what was your original name? And she told me Zemanek. And I told her, come and sit down. And I brought her from Yad Vashem, my
testimony.
Yeah. And she read it, and there was written that Zemanek, the aunt of my friend, was holding a baby. So it was her. She was a little bit shocked. Me, every day when I think about it, I am shocked because, and it's very important, remember it, I'll put it down. When she heard it, do you know how I came back to my flat? I told her, no, I only saw the soldiers. And then she told me that the lady who was taking care of her before the razzia at their home, she lied that she, before taking her to the river, to Danuba, she took her from her mother, and she did not give the soldiers to take her, and she got money for it, that she saved Marta. And Marta, till today, cannot understand. For years, she was thankful to this one, because I am the only one who told her the real story.
She never knew before?
No. How could she? Her mother was killed, and this lady told her, I saved you. and nobody remembered the small baby, how she came, who brought her back.
It's unbelievable.
But good
You
that
remember this and you put it in the testimony in Yad Vashem before you met Martha.
yes, it's very important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she would not believe me if I wouldn't do it before I met, before she told me her name.
She's very great. She's so grateful, and I'm so grateful to her because she introduced me to you.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you, Lydia. This has been incredible. Just 1 minute, Lydia. Sure. I really,
And I
I'm
tell it at every...
Lydia, it is so emotional. The story with Martha, and that you remember, and well,
how can I forget?
it's been the greatest honor and privilege. Lydia, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful to you. Not only you're such an inspiration to all of us, Lydia, you are incredible.
And my son.
And your son and your whole family.
I hope he believes you.
But you really are. And I'm just, if I could just wish and ask for a blessing from you, because you are just unbelievable. And there are no words to thank you enough. There really are no words.
I am sorry that I do not have good memories.
Well, no, your memories, you know what, it's so important what you've related. And Lydia, you know, I think this is your first time that you've spoken in English. It's your first interview in English.
Yes.
Well, you are fluent. Not only are you fluent, but from the bottom of your heart. And this, what you've told us, is just something that is so inspirational to everybody. I cannot thank you enough. And I just,
So don't say.
you should just have mazel and bracha and good health.
Because you did not eat the cake, I will
We will.
you.
No, we will. I will. But Lydia, thank you very much. I'm so incredibly grateful to you,
It's
Lydia.
okay, I feel it as I am, it's my duty to do. Really, I feel it's my duty, as I felt, for example, I remind you, when they caught the one who organized the razzia, and at Budapest they put him to the justice, I was, in a minute, I decided to travel from Novi Sad to Budapest. From Yad Vashem, I was befriended with the previous one who goes, and he asked me if I am ready to make, thought, of course, and on my account I traveled to Budapest to give my, I feel it as a duty.
Well, we are so grateful to you.
I am sorry that it is on account of my children's time.
Thank you so much, Lydia. באמת.
You are welcome.
There really are no words.
And understand me that I am happy that you understood me.
Lydia, thank you very, very much.
I can help my grandfather, that he taught me at early age that when it's very cold and freezing, I still do not have to worry and to take some trousers or something else that I have on already, because a good example is the dog. I liked his dog very much. Jackie was his name. And he showed me, look, even at winter time, he has the same thing. He does not have to take anything. He survives and he walks with us. So don't be worried. Don't take trousers when we go out now. And that, happily, I remember also at Holocaust, at the razzia, when I was standing at minus 25 and without really good winter dress because we did not have time to take them on when we were taken from home. So I remembered that he told me, you can survive as any other animal. And here I am, survived.
It is a great honor and a privilege to have Lydia's son. I heard we're here in your home and we're going to be showing these beautiful, these very precious, magnificent, unbelievable photographs that survived the war, which is so dear and so precious. Howard, thank you so very much.
Most welcome.
My story begins with my parents' story. My father ran away from Hungary because he was a famous communist for a short while, and his mother was very careful, so she told him to run away with a small baggage, but with his pharmacist's document. So he arrived to Yugoslavia and straight down to Albania, where they recognized him as a good pharmacist, and he was taken to the army as the pharmacological officer, and as a remembrance I got a picture of him as an officer. And already in uniforms he got a holiday and arrived to Novi Sad, that at the time of the Hungarians were called Újvidék, and there he met my mother.
I just want to mention that this picture, it's of your father, and he's as you said, he's a pharmacist, as an officer in south of Serbia. It's after the running away from as an anti-communist. Yeah.
He was a communist.
Yeah. בואי תמשיכי.
So he met my mother already as an officer, and my mother and he fell in love and got married. So he not only got my mother, but also a lot of money that my grandfather could give him, because he was a rich and famous photographer. He was a photographer, the first one in Europe as a colored picture. But I always smile because the colored pictures were handmade by my uncles. For hours they painted the color on the picture my grandfather did.
And this is a picture of your mom, of Lydia.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
It's me.
This is before coloring it, I believe, and this is after coloring those photos.
And this one, if we turn it around, we'll see with the color. Yeah, that's true. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, they are kind of well preserved by
You
my
can
mother.
see some of the pictures in some museums in all Europe. I believe they still exist, because I met some people who knew his name as famous Vaida. Anyhow, they got married and my father started and invested the money he got building a factory. He bought a building for the factory, 4 floors. That included the first floor was an office, I remember, and the others were for producing and packing, and after also for exporting. While the time he became, the name of the factory, Chemicalia, became famous, and he was exporting to a lot of countries, chemicals also. And I was told every summer till the war, they took me for a month to work at the factory. They liked me as a small girl and taught me how to fill bottles and so on. And as a thank you, my father sent me with my caretaker and my sister every time to another nice summer place to enjoy the holiday till the school.
We have here an earlier picture of my mother with her sister and the caretaker before she volunteered to work in the factory. So here.
And what was your sister's name?
Sorry?
My aunt's name was Vera.
Vera.
The full name Veronica.
True. So here we can see, and there are here photos of your childhood. Maybe you can talk about them and I will show the photos. About your childhood. There are photos here about your childhood.
Yes, and there are photos on the Danube, the same place where the razzia was done. Before it, every summer we rented, or I don't know if it was bought, a cabin, and every day we went and enjoyed. We have some pictures sitting.
I'm showing it. It's you and Vera, your sister, and your mother, sitting on the river bank.
And very happy.
Yeah,
Very
it
happy.
was before everything started. And here you can see also a signature, a stamp of Vaida, the studio of her grandfather's photo studio. So all those
had
pictures
a big studio.
in Novi Sad.
Novi Sad.
Show once more the picture with the metapellet. The picture is made in the entrance to the studio and the villa.
Okay. Please continue.
So I had a very, very nice life. Also, my parents were very busy, positively busy, but still I did not understand that. I did have only a caretaker and not parents for me.
I just want to add, sorry for cutting you, I just want to add, this is an entrance card, this is the original one, to the spa, so-called, on the riverside of the Danube. A membership card to enter.
Membership. And that is in 43. How old were you in 43?
How old?
11 years old. She was born in 1932.
In 1932.
But this is not 42.
Now I want here to tell us other story. I don't know if you want to hear it. Here I am. My grandfather took the picture. I was modeling always to him, but this time I was dressing something from a big shop or supermarket under name Klein. I remember he was Jewish, and he gave me as a present the dress. And after the Holocaust, when my father decided to come to Israel, he wanted to take as much as possible things from Novi Sad, Uvidek, and he bought at Klein a set of knife and spoon and silver made, very expensive, and he put it into, so they did not find it, he did not pay tax on it. It arrived to Israel. For years he paid on it also insurance, and when I inherited from the insurance company, he arrived, looked at it and told me it's not silver, he cheated you.
Okay.
So everywhere you find cheating people.
So you want to tell about your childhood, because I see here photos of you also dressed as an Shirley Temple.
I was very wanted for playing, and they always told my mother what dress I need, and she spoke to a private who is presenting, and she made me the same dress as for Shirley Temple and to my doll, and I had dancing step that was Shirley Temple's main dance. I had a big success, and
You can see this in those two photos of shows that she was performing.
Wait, I have a story here where I told that when my father told that we are leaving this night, going to Hungary by train, I asked him what to take with me, whatever you want, and I took the doll with me. It's one picture, one story. The other picture is here. I was dancing. I don't know if here you see children down or another one. Yes,
Yeah, just tell, I will show. Just
okay,
tell you the story.
Here. Only after plenty of years, when we got to Israel, I looked at it, I was dancing, and here is written Tel Aviv.
Yeah, here it says Tel Aviv. You can see it here.
So
That's
I got
incredible.
excited here in Israel about already representing Tel Aviv. מה הלאה?
יש פה תמונות שלך בשלג עם חברה.
איך?
תמונה שלך בשלג עם חברה.
this place was very near our flat, and I was among the first one who my present bought me for the ski. Not everybody could afford it then, and that is one of my friends who survived, and her name was Vera, as my sister, and her sister's name was Zsuzsa. So it is a good contact.
Okay, יש פה תמונות, photos of your school. תמונות מחזור.
There are from every year at end of the year they made pictures. I did not sit by force. They told me that I deserve it to sit next to the teacher. And at every picture there are the 6 who came to Israel only from all the 40 pupils, and mostly up there is also the becoming famous Tommy Lapid. You can see him.
Okay. This is my mother, above my finger. 7 from the right.
There is Olgica, her aunt was Zemanek.
Okay. יש פה...
עם סרט לבן, אולגה.
Okay. The photos here, there is a photo here of you and your friends.
It is Olga's birthday.
Okay, please tell it.
Before.
You want to talk about this photo?
What?
You want to explain about this photo? What did you celebrate here? Or?
We were invited to her home because it is rare that children were invited to home, celebrate not at school, and we are sitting here all good friends.
What? Were you in contact with those friends after?
They did not rescue.
So, tell this.
Therefore, it's a memory.
They never survived. They never survived.
No.
As I was told, and I believe my mother will approve it because she said it, just 6 out of 40 from her schoolmates, Jewish schoolmates, survived. Am I right? Just
Yeah.
How many survived?
6.
6, yeah. So, most of those children did not survive.
And this is all in Novi
But
Sad.
it took years until I
Yes, it's in Novi
understood that they did not, what happened. Nobody told us. Nobody spoke with me about the Razia, Auschwitz. I did not know anything.
יש פה את התמונה הזו מ-1941-2.
When we arrived,
I will show it.
one day after we arrived to Budapest with a train, my uncle arranged for me the, איך אומרים?
Orphanage.
Orphanage, where I was here also. I believe my name is written Zuzana.
Lydia Suzana, yeah.
Lydia Suzana. And there I was forbidden to mention that my parents are alive because all of them were real orphanage except of me.
How come you became an orphan there, in this place?
My uncle, who was a famous eye doctor, professor, he had a protection and he asked them a favor to take me in because he wanted me to continue school.
So it was like a safe place for you to stay.
Yes, there, at this time the Nazis were not yet in Budapest.
I understand. רגע. את רוצה להמשיך לספר?
למה לא?
בבקשה.
תשאל אותו אם...
יש פה תמונה של הרנדלט,
של מה? לא
של הצו. הרנדלט, נדמה לי אומרים את זה בהונגרית, אני לא דובר הונגרית.
מה זה?
רנדלט. תביא, אני אראה לה.
It is something that somebody at the Jewish community in Novi Sad gave me when I visited after the war. It is when we were at our flat that our maid came home and told that at the street there is a tzav, איך אומרים צו?
Okay. Statement from the Jewish people not to... I'm not familiar
that
with the
we
word.
are not allowed to go out and not to look through the windows.
There were flyers hanging all around it.
Like a curfew there, that there was a curfew.
It's it's written in Hungarian language, and what I told you that is written here, that it is forbidden to go out.
Just for Jewish, right? Just for Jewish people?
No, not at all.
Not at all, for nobody,
Because,
for everybody else.
because they collected the Jews, but they did not want other people to see or to know about it.
And these were Hungarians that collected the Jews. It was Hungarians.
Yeah.
At that time it was Austro-Hungary, so they ruled there.
It is complicated. My mother was born in Újvidék because then it was originally Hungary. And when I was born, already the Yugoslavs, the Serbs, took the place, so they changed the name to Novi Sad. Therefore, with my humor, when people ask me, where have you been born? I do not want them to ask me questions, Novi Sad, Újvidék. I tell them I was born in a hospital.
מה זה התעודה הזו?
בית ספר,
אוקיי.
לא זוכרת איזו שנה, אז אני אגיד לך איזו כיתה, ותלמידה טובה.
1939.
הייתי בת 7, כיתה א' אולי. מה?
אוקיי, explain.
לא, תגיד לי כמה. קיבלתי איזה ציונים.
Yeah, I will show the...
אוקיי.
It's a diploma with the records of the achievement in school.
End of the year, pupils receive it.
So since it's in Cyrillic, I cannot tell which subjects those are, but the grades are 5, all 5, which is...
Wow. It's the highest.
Yeah.
So
So
I
it's
was
nicely-
good not only in ballet but in subjects also, serious subjects.
I believe that's what we have. מה זו התעודה הזו, אמא?
אני חושבת שגם לשטרנד. לא, זה לא תעודה, זה גם תעודה, אבל זה מקום נופש. פרושקה גורה.
אוקיי.
אין לזה כעת סיפור.
אוקיי. No story about that. It's like a memory. It's nice.
As I told you, every summer my father paid for me and my caterer to enjoy.
It's a vacation place.
A very famous.
What's the name of the place?
Fruška Gora.
Fruška Gora. Okay.
It's above Novi Sad.
Okay. Gora, it's a mountain in Serbia, no?
And how old were you in this picture?
בת כמה את בתמונה? את מצליחה לראות את זה?
כן, אבל I believe 7.
7.
Or 5, I don't know.
5 or 7. It doesn't have a date on it. It's just part of it, I guess. It's just one page. It's part of something else. Maybe on the stamp. No.
And Lydia, how did these pictures survive? If you think the Jews were deported, there was the razzia, and you still have the original, these are all original pictures.
It was inside.
The same as the furnitures came to Israel. They brought, as she
But
told
who
me,
kept the photos?
מי שמר על התמונות? מי הביא אותם? מי... תספרי.
My parents. It was a part of this as everything else. My mother took care of everything.
But when they went to Hungary, did they take the pictures with them?
No, they left them in Novi Sad in Serbia, but when they came back,
It was there.
Yes.
maybe you tell the story how they kept about your belongings. You told me about the worker in your father's factory.
I forgot.
So tell the story how they been kept all those years.
Because
all your belongings. So tell the story.
My father, I was told always he was a very good and he behaved very good as a manager, so all his workers loved him. And one of his helpers was not Jewish, and he continued to take care of the place where my father was.
The factory, you mean?
Factory, and when he heard, he told us later the story that the Germans are collecting from all the Jewish flats because they all were empty of people, collecting and putting it on a train. They called it a golden train, and taking to Germany. So he made not so official, but as official sign that my father gave him a present, everything. So that saved, so he saved all. We are the only Jews that also survived, and everything of us survived.
Your belongings were kept, were saved.
Because even those few who returned found their flats empty and were told that if they want, they can go to Germany and to ask where they would. But we were almost the only one, I believe the only one who my father succeeded to bring it over.
Basically, he trusted very much his workers, co-workers.
And also that the co-worker gave her back after the war.
Yeah,
many didn't.
They loved him, as she mentioned. They loved him and trusted him as well.
And that's why we have the photos. It's incredible. It really is incredible.
It's very rare to have from those years such kind of memories. Those some of the photos my mother gave to at one point to Yad Vashem to be kept there as a testimony, statement. They're still there, of course. Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you so much. And can I just ask, when did your mom first tell you, or when did you know that about your mom being a survivor?
הוא שואל אותי שאלה, אני אענה לו. When did I first knew? We always knew in a way, you know, in the background. Because as children, of course, as small children, we never knew about anything about the war and the Holocaust. But as we grew and we studied it in school and as well, and as a child you hear here and there stuff. I never knew in details. I just knew as my mother started giving zikaron basalon, which is memory, telling memories about her experiences in the Holocaust, and then I knew more and more details about what happened, and because my mother never exposed it to us, or my parents actually. My father is also a Holocaust survivor, and they never spoke about it in front of us.
It's not only your parents, I believe none of the parents.
I know just about my family, so I believe so, yeah.
Did you used to ask your parents, or you felt you didn't want to
No,
upset
not even
them?
when I learned it in school, because then we learned it in school, and then we were still children, and we were not connecting all the points together. So I knew it. Later on, when we were adults, we knew more about it, and I guess we asked some stories, but it wasn't in family conversation thing.
He was with me once in visit Novi Sad as a grown-up.
I went there with my children and my sister with her children, together with my mother.
And how was it going back? Was it difficult? Lydia, was it difficult for you to go back? Was it...
היה לך קשה לחזור לנובי סאד? Was it difficult for you to go back to Novi Sad?
Mixed emotions. It must be very mixed.
I don't have what to say. My whole life was always difficult. Now being a widow is also difficult. I do not have but I am going over it.
We went to Novi Sad because they were
invited.
They were making a movie about Jewish people, the forgotten Jewish people in Yugoslavia, and there were some testimonies there for as well. My mother and Marta, as you know her, and we joined her. It was for us like a route visit there. She showed us around there, the places where she was living, the apartments and factory that was confiscated.
Confiscated.
Thank you. And sorry for my English. Yeah.
No, it's...
And it was for us. It was for me and my sister and our children. It was a really emotional thing, because then I think the Asimon nafal, if you know what I mean.
You really,
We got what everybody's talking about. Yeah, we knew it, but not as,
until you
as
actually
close
saw it.
as,
you
feeling
could feel
it.
it. You could feel it.
Because we went to the riverbank as well. They were shooting the movie there.
A very exciting remark.
Please.
One of the visit there, Martha was also, the first visits, Martha was also there, and they asked me to show where the razzia was. We went to the river, and we went till the Danube, till the river, and I told here it was a killing. I shall not forget Martha was putting her hand on the water, and I don't know if she was praying, but she was thinking of her mother. I saw it, we saw it on her face. It was very exciting because it was the first time that she touched the place where her mother was killed.
She said,
Very
that's the
emotional.
closest way I can be near my mother.
What?
היא אמרה שזה המקום הכי קרוב שיכולה להיות לאמא שלה.
They must be so emotional, so unbelievably emotional. Is there a memorial? Do they have a memorial plaque?
There is a statue there, saying in Hebrew in different languages about what happened there. It happened also to Serbians there, not just for
Yes.
Jewish people.
Wow.
So,
May I ask a question?
go ahead.
If Martha mentioned her mother in the story?
Very
Yes.
much, very much. It's so important to her. But that must have been one of the most emotional things to see. Because there's no grave, there's no...
No doubt about it. Yeah, it was.
Don't forget, Martha is 10 years younger than me.
Oh, it must have been also very profound for you to see your mother light the candle here in Rishon on Yom HaZikaron,
Yeah, last
on Yom
year.
HaShoah.
Yeah, last year she was invited to light a masoah torch.
The torch.
Yeah, it was a very. I was so proud of her, actually. Yeah.
I must tell that our Yoshev Rosh HaIriya, municipal,
The mayor.
The mayor.
he appreciates the Holocaust survivors. I don't think any other city has such
He's
a...
also a son of survivors.
Yes,
Yes, he is.
maybe therefore.
But no, it's not the reason. He's
But Martha, we all appreciate. We all appreciate him. Very dear to all of us.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is the cutlery
The setting that he cheated us.
that they said it was silver.
What?
They said it was pure silver.
Yeah. I still keep it.
It's still nice.
That's very nice.
And clever. You see? It serves to put here things.
That's amazing. It's got a shelf. Do you know
It's
roughly
good.
how old this is?
She might tell you.
Lydia, do you know how old this furniture is?
אמא,
כן.
בני כמה הרהיטים האלה? באיזה שנה הם יוצרו?
בערך ב-1936.
1936, more or less.
And I'm sure it's hand carved.
עבודת יד?
כן, אמרתי.
There were no machines.
של הנגר.
Carpenter was doing that.
I told you. Now, there is not connected to Holocaust, but to my feelings. When you see this, it's a mother embrace.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I bought it with my husband when my biggest son went to be a soldier.
It's beautiful.
And I felt something I cannot do, but it makes it. It is bought in Metsuba kibbutz. It's a very famous, I don't know, he's not more alive, but...
That's very beautiful, and then here. Sure. And then I'm just going to do this as well.
I cannot.
Wow, this is amazing. And to think all this picture as well of your grandmother, it's just... And this as well, this came...
No, not this one. This is from...
I mean, this over here. This,
And also this table and chairs.
the chairs as well.
Yeah, they are just being renovated, but
And
the
here,
frame
take
are
a look, here are a lot of memories inside. Everything
And
has
Martha, the
its story.
tablecloth, tablecloth was from
Oh, the same.
But-
מפה.
Hamapa.
מפה של השולחן, תספרי על המפה.
Oh, it is, my mother had a good talent also for knitting and sewing. She did it for her wedding in 1924. She got married.
And you use it every day. It stays every day.
It's here,
It's
yeah,
here.
it's on the table, always. Just when we eat, we remove it.
That is also my mother did it.
It's magnificent. It's wow.
Labriut.
Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you so very much.
The famous Israeli painter, I don't
And
know
this
the-
picture reminded you of your parents.
What?
It reminded you of your parents.
מזכיר לך את ה...
Yes.
And Lydia, you mentioned your mother.
Yeah, that I want to teach you something. My mother died, she died before my father, and at the funeral, my father told her, he called her by a nice name, Tutush in Hungarian, it sounds, we shall meet soon. And he was healthy. After half a year he died. So take care, don't say stupid things. He should not tell her we shall meet soon.
This one was 60 bus stations.
It's amazing.
She got it from the mayor. Okay.
I tell you as a secret. You see, I'm clothed in black because before he made this picture, he told me to take a black. It makes the best face.
It's a beautiful picture.
Yeah, it's his profession. So he taught me before I came to take a black. So therefore I took now also black.
This is from the factory, from
Yes,
your
from
father's
Novi
factory.
Sad. And that one was on the, איך אומרים קיר?
Wall.
On the wall.
In the room of the cooker that lived with us. And it was my idea to make it. It is working, תדליק אור.
No need.
And this is from the factory.
Yeah, and also she also has some buttons for chemicals and medications, old ones. It's very interesting.
But that is a present from a lady who invited me for the first time in my life to speak about the Holocaust surviving. She got my address, my name from the municipality, and so she was happy that I agreed to come to her house. I did not know how to prepare myself, so I arrived and instantly spoke to about 30 or more people, her family. It seems that I had a success. They were very satisfied. And when I finished, her son, about 8 years old or 9, sit beyond me, looked at me, told me, "You are the best Savta ever I met." So I believe it was also the first time that he heard about the Holocaust, because nobody spoke about it before. They opened to all the survivors the heart and the mouth to speak about. Nobody was interested to invite us, and then they started. And since then, every year I have a lot of invitations, and even at the illness, they found a solution at schools. They invited me in Zoom, and my children taught me how to use Zoom, and the teachers and they told me the children were very, very satisfied with and they even asked questions through Zoom and got my answers. So we are still befriended, and I use her also as an advocate. And there is also some other common thing. Her name is Buba, her private name. And as a small child, as I am telling always, I had help from Germany. I mean a caretaker from Germany. And she called me not by my name, but she called me Pupa, Pupe. That is also Buba, it's Puppe in German.
Wow, this is so special.
Yeah.
And this is with your husband, with your father.
Yeah, here it is.
And she got this, she did this all herself?
No, I don't think so.
She collected those photos from
the
Facebook, I believe. That's what she said.
What an extraordinary gift. But you are an extraordinary person.
This was on 60 bus stations. It's about the Holocaust survivor that built
that one I showed.
That showed, yeah.
A wonderful house in Rishon LeZion. And it says here above, if you can see, הילדה שניצלה מהוצאה להורג. The child that was survived from being slaughtered on the Danube river. Yeah.
It was a miracle. It was a miracle that they came.
As she told me that they were the 10th line, you know, and then they came to
stop they got
executions.
It's just unbelievable. And this is so nice with the... It's beautiful. Well, it's very well deserved. Thank you so much, Lydia.
What is? Wait, I want to show here something, because that is hard work to close, yes? But from other places, take care how you cut. Most of the places I get one such flower, and it's also, it needs care, water, so I don't know what is easier. Look how many.
It's beautiful.
Oh, from every place one. Here also I put them.
Lydia, thank you so very much.
This is from Israel, not from Hungary.